Welcome back to Let's Automate It with Robin, AI and automation for non-techies. And today I want to dive into prompting. It's long since bugged me that prompting is a kind of an art form that you need to learn. Now, as AI and automators, we're kind of more programmatically driven and we're more focused on kind of iteratively improving things. So I thought to myself, why can we not make prompts self-improving, where we have a base prompt and we use it, and every time we use it, it gets better? Well, today I want to show you a workflow that does exactly that for you here in N8N. Now, I do want to be clear. This is a starter workflow. It is a concept that I've just kind of put down on Canvas, got it started. I want to share it with you, and I'm sure you're going to take it much, much further. It is a basic framework. Let me show you the concept of what I am thinking about. So here on my N8N canvas, I've just used some of the N8N nodes to kind of show the thinking that I'm after. So we're going to start here with a database. Now this is it can be a Google table, it can be a Superbase, it can be anything. I'm going to use N8N's data tables for this. So I'm just using this node here as an example. So we're going to start with a database, a table of our best performing prompts. 1, 2, 3. We're going to have three prompts sitting in there. Then we're going to pull those prompts into a workflow, and that's what this is kind of representing here. So we're going to pull down our prompts, all right, our best performing prompts that we've got. We're going to create posts with those prompts, and then we are going to evaluate those posts to see how well they've done. Now, if we have, so we'll have top 3 prompts pulling in, creating our top 3 posts. We'll evaluate those posts to get a score of how well they have done using an AI agent to score them. And then we'll take our best performing post and we'll go and post that somewhere. We're going to use it for the job that it was intended for. But we will take then the best performing post and its prompt that goes with it, and we'll try and improve on that prompt, write it back into the original database so that we can start again. And that's kind of what I'm showing here on the screen. Get the prompt, use it, evaluate, get the best version of it, and then update that best version and send it back to the database so it starts again. So I've got that up and going. Let's have a look at a workflow that does exactly that. Here it is on the table, on the canvas. Right now it is ready to go, and we can make it work. But before we do that, I actually want to show you the data table that is holding this information, because it does illustrate the point. So let's jump across into our data table here. And let me just zoom in a bit. So we've got a data table here. And by the way, this is an N8N data table. If you haven't got data tables in your N8N, just update to the latest version. They'll be there for you. So here we have a prompt. This is the column that we're going to use to record our prompts into our database. And you can see I'll start with a very, very simple one. Write a LinkedIn post, the simplest prompt under the sun. Okay, then we went and used it and we got a score for it. There's our score, is the latest run score. It didn't score very well, and that's what you'd expect with a pretty poor prompt. Okay, then I was running it again, and I've come up with some better prompts. Now, I didn't write these prompts. The prompts have been written by an N8N workflow. It wrote the prompt. It mentioned the improvements that it's made to the prompt, and it gave itself a score, 92.17. We ran it again. We got an even better prompt, got our improvements, 95.17. And this number 4 here is our very, very latest prompt. It has a score of 100, which seems a little bit odd. The reason for that is we artificially insert that score of 100 because we haven't actually used that prompt yet. We think it's our best version of the prompt, and we want to use it in our next run. So we've got to make sure it's the highest scoring prompt so that it gets included in the next time we run our workflow. But once this prompt is actually used to create a post, it'll be given its realistic score, and the next latest, greatest up version of our prompt will inherit the 100 score. I hope that makes sense. Let's run through that and have a look at it. I'm actually just going to delete out these here and just delete those out. And I'm going to be left with my starting point. So you'll need to seed your data table with your starting prompts. And in this case, I'm going to start with a simple write a LinkedIn post. So let's now come back over to my workflow and let's just execute this workflow. And I'll talk you through it as it's running. So it's gone and fetched all the latest prompts. There's only one in there. It's using that prompt now here in the post writer in order to actually create the post. It's evaluating that post and updating the score into the database. And then it's taking that prompt and it's improving it and writing that back to the database. That's what's happened here. Let's go back into here and just refresh this. And we'll see now that we have a second prompt in here, a lot better. And we can see that this scored 88.17. And this time our new prompt has been given this artificial score of 100. Let's go back over to our workflow and let's just run that once again. And we can see it running now. It's now pulling down 2 prompts. It's now going to write 2 posts. And then it's evaluating both posts. It's going to keep the highest scoring post, and it's going to then try and improve on the prompt that generated that highest scoring post. So that's what's happening at the moment. Let's give it a moment to finish, and let's go back over to our data table, refresh. And here we can see we have a third post come in, and we now have 3 prompts in here that we can choose from. Now, every single time we run this workflow, it's going to just run a new line in here, a new line in here. Now, I figure over time, you're going to end up with a situation where the prompts just aren't getting any better. They're kind of maxing out, and you'll need to choose the best one. Probably take that one now and hard code that into your tool that you're using to generate it. So this would be a way to kind of iteratively get to a point, but as you get closer and closer to perfection, I figure my assumption is, it just won't improve that much anymore. So then you'll stop the process. So let's jump back over to N8N and let me walk you through what's happening here. So this, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is a basic framework that you can build upon. So I'm just triggering this with a manual trigger. And because this is a concept, I want to see if it could work. And we are setting our inputs. So our inputs here is, I'm creating a LinkedIn post. So I wanted kind of just to guide it in terms of LinkedIn. So I wanted to give it a topic, I wanted to give it an audience, and I wanted to give a lesson. Now, of course, you will adapt this to suit whatever you're looking to generate. Now, I would imagine that's going to be normally content generation. This is where you're going to suit it best, but you could probably bend this to anything that you wanted. So let's have a look at the next one here. Now we're using our data table node. If you just jump in here and search for data table, it'll pop out here and you can grab your data table. So let's just jump into this. And I've created my data table already. You'll have to do that ahead of time. And I've called it Let's Automate It Self-Improving Prompts. And I'm just asking it to get all the prompts. And that's exactly what it will do. If I run this now, we should have 3 items. Here is our very, very first, write a LinkedIn post. There is our next one. And there is our next one. So it's getting our top 3 prompts down from the database. The next node here is a sorting node, and we're going to jump into this one. And as you can see, we're doing a simple. There's a couple of options here. We're doing a simple sort, and we're going by field name. We want to pull in the last run score. So there it is. You just want to kind of write that in, last underscore run underscore score, because that is now going to rank those items by that facet, and we want to race it descending. So we want to go from highest to lowest. So if we run this now, we can see our output on this side. And if we scroll across, you can see we've got our latest score run of 100. That is our latest prompt that we've created. And then underneath it, we should have our next greatest prompts. There they are in a descending value. So those are done. Now we just want to extract the latest 3. That's what this node here is doing. We just want to get the best 3 prompts. Now we've only got 3 prompts in our database at the moment. If we had more, we would just want to pull the top 3. So we're just going to pull the top 3 here. And that's just going to be keep max 3 items, keep your first items. Very, very simple. And so just configure it exactly like that. Again, if you don't want to get into this configuration side, jump into our community, details in the show notes below, and you can just come and dump this onto your database, onto your N8N canvas, and you will be good to go. Okay, so now that we've got all of our prompts out of our database, we now want to use them. So that's where we come into here, into our post writer. Now, you probably want to use a sub workflow here or add some more complexity to the canvas here, because the post writer probably want to enrich the data. You might want to go out and do some web research and just kind of, really flesh out and make a better post. For the sake of making this work, I've kept it quite simple, and let's jump in here, and I'm going to go and have a look at our post writer. So we want to use define below. We want our prompt to be the information that we are getting from our set AI inputs here. So on this side, we want to drag these in, and as you can see, here it is right here. Write a text-only LinkedIn post about, and I've inserted the topic, the audience, and the key lesson. So we're pulling that from our input data. So that's done. Now here for system message, this is very critical. For system message, you want to pull in the prompt from your database. So you want to pop down here, you're going to get the latest 3 prompts, and then here you want to drag in your expression that's going to pull in the latest prompts. So that way you're working with the latest prompts. You're not going to hard code and write a prompt into there. I hope that makes sense. So let's go and execute on that. So right now it's busy writing 3 posts because we've got 3 prompts, and it's going to come up with 3 prompts. And there are 3 posts. There we go. Here we can see it. On this side, we've got 3 outputs, and these are our prompts. Imagine gaining hours back on your work every day without hiring extra help. What if spending 10 minutes every day on AI could save you hours? As small business owners, embracing AI can feel overwhelming. So yeah, here we've got some LinkedIn posts, and you can kind of see the post is getting better and better as we're using better posts. This bottom one here was generated by that very, very simple prompt. And as you can see, it's improving all the time. Okay, so we've done that. Now we want to do our post evaluator. Let me just get a little bit more detailed about this. So the prompt that we are evaluating, the user message that we're evaluating over here, is just the output from the previous writer. So we just want to drag that in there, because what this is doing, what this post evaluator is doing, is evaluating the post. So we need to feed the post into it. But here we want to get into this here. Now this is the rubric that I have used. It's an evaluator. So I've given it some rules that it can use to evaluate itself. So here we're scoring the LinkedIn post provided with this rubric on a scale of 0 to 100. And I wanted to look at functionality, I wanted to look at format, and I wanted to look at completeness. And then I wanted to return it in a very strict format. So I'm asking it to evaluate it based on these factors, and then come back with this score over here based on this structure: post, functionality, format, completeness, and an average score, as well as some feedback. Now here, this bottom section over here, what I'm pulling in here, post to score, is the it's the output from the previous node. Now, you can probably actually delete this out. This is not needed because it's already in the user prompt. I've left it in here because sometimes the AI will produce or will create contact using a different output. So here I've got different formats to grip the earlier output: JSON output, JSON post. All of these will work. JSON message, depending on what the output of the previous node is and how it's being labeled, this will result with all of that. So this could actually probably be deleted. Why? Well, because it's been included in our JSON prompt message here, our input message. So we're evaluating on that. By the way, screen grab that section and you will be able to grip that prompt completely, and just screen grab it, go and put it into your favorite large language model and just ask it to write it out for you, and boom, you will have that. No need to get any more complex. So we're busy running this workflow. So it's busy evaluating how well those posts did. It's scoring them based on those criteria. Now, you may have different criteria you want to rate your posts on, depending on what it is. If it's Instagram, you're going to have a different set of rules than Facebook or a web copy or whatever the case may be. But here we have on the right-hand side, we have our system prompt, we have the post, and then right here, we have our functionality score, our format score, our completeness score, and most importantly, our average score. And that's been repeated for each one of these posts. So that's fantastic. We've got that now. We've evaluated our post. Now we are going to rank those again. We're going to jump into that, and we're just going to rank the output average score because we have got the average score here. Just type that in, and we're going to execute that. It has now ranked our score. And then again here, we are going to extract the highest score. But before we do that, we actually want to record our scores. We want to kind of write the latest, how well those 3 posts perform. So we're just going to run this now. And what's that doing is it's just updating our database. It is making sure the database has got the latest scores of the prompts that were used. Okay, so that's been done. Let's go and execute this now. What this is doing is extracting the highest scoring post. So it's got the best scoring post, and the best scoring post had an average score here of 97.02. Pretty good score if you ask me. It's not doing badly at all. So we can jump out of that. And now we've got that. Let's feed that now into our prompt optimizer. So this is another AI agent. By the way, these are all hooked up to OpenAI 4.1. Choose your favorite model. And we've also connected these up to structured output parsers, both of these. Let me just jump into this structured output parser quickly for the post evaluator. And there it is. It's just trying to get it back in that category, in that structure, so that we can work with that structured data downstream in our workflow. So if you want to grab this, again, just screen grab and ask your LLM to extract it. And for our prompt organizer, we're wanting to get this data out. We want to get the proposed improvement prompt, what changes were made, and the reasoning for making those changes and what was fixed in it. So that's the structure that we want to get out of here. Let me show you inside the prompt optimizer at the moment, see what we've got here. So as you can see, if I'll just expand this out a little bit, we are pulling in the information that we got out of the previous node, and that was actually coming from the evaluator of the post. We wanted to see functionality, format, completeness, average score. So here it is all coming in on this side. You can see the actual results being passed in, as well as all the feedback, as well as the content writer prompt that's coming in as well. So that is the prompt that was used to pull into this. So this is what we're asking it to evaluate. We're saying, hey, we wrote a post. This is how it scored. This is the prompt that was used to get that score. Please evaluate this prompt and improve on it. That's what we're doing at the moment. So we'll jump out of here. Let's go in and have a look now at our system prompt. You're a prompt engineer. Your job is to improve the provided content writer prompt used to generate LinkedIn posts. Your goal, produce a tighter, clearer, more robust writing system prompt. Guys, you can do anything you want here, however you want to guide this to work, but this prompt is a great starting point, so definitely grab this. Okay, we're creating a LinkedIn post here, so we want to enforce a structure of hook, context, value, conclusion. Just the nice story style to get people hooked in. We don't want overloaded paragraphs. We want one open-ended call to action question. We want a couple of hashtags. We want to keep it short, less than 8,000 words, etc., etc. And we want to return the data in a very strict JSON format, which is why we are using the structured output parser to get the job done. So that is the prompt that is going to evaluate our best performing, this is the agent that's going to improve our best performing prompt and give a better version of it. So here it is on the outside, on this side over here, we have our proposed prompt that is slightly improved. It is giving us the changes that it's making, and the reasoning about why it should improve those changes and what it fixed from the previous prompt that it had. So now we have got our improved prompt. So now we want to have a set node here, and we just want to include our information. Now, in an earlier version, earlier version of my workflow here, I was tracking versions. I'm not doing that anymore, so this is a legacy from that. But there's the prompt. That's the improved prompt that's been created. Here are the notes. I'm pulling the notes in from here. This is the reasoning short notes. I've dropped that into here, and that's so that I can keep track of what's being improved in my database, and then I'm getting the latest run score that came from that. In fact, I can actually delete that out because I've now improved that to be 100. I'll show you what I mean in the next post. So, but leave that there as it is. We're going to run this. And it's just going to capture that information for us in a set node. And now we need to write that back to our database. So let's do that. We're going to be writing back to our self-improving prompt database. We're going to map each column manually, and we are going to insert the new prompt. So that's the prompt here. Just drag that in. We are going to pull in the improvements. I've just renamed it improvement, but it's notes. And you can see here, this is what I'm talking about. I'm inserting a score of 100 to make sure this prompt is used in the next run, to make sure it's one of the top 3. That's the idea. So if we go and run this now, we will see that this latest prompt, write a LinkedIn post that begins with a compelling hook to immediately capture attention. This will now be in our data table. So let's jump over to our data table. Let's refresh this. And now we can see we've got a new prompt in here. That's our new prompt. It's been scored 100, and we have our previous prompts been running and their scores. And every time we run this, this will improve. Guys, this is the concept of the self-improving workflow. I think it's going to do a really good job. There is something that I do want to highlight to you that I have actually skipped over. So let me dive back over into my N8N, and I wanted to look at this node over here, because this node is updating the scores inside of the N8N data table. So I want to just have a look at the get rid of that arrow, and how we're doing this. So in this one, we'll be using operation here to update tables. We've got a couple of options here, but we want to update table because we are updating a pre-existing row in our table. We need to have it match, and we're matching our prompt. So in our table, there are unique elements in our table are the prompts. Every single row's got a unique prompt in it. So we're looking for the exact correct prompt. And the important thing here is you want to make sure you're mapping to the correct prompts. So here you want to go all the way back here on your input side here. You want to go all the way back down to get all prompts. And from here, you want to drag in your prompt into the table, into this node configuration section of this node. That way, it's going to look for the correct prompt in the table, and then it's going to give that row with that has that prompt in it the correct score. This is critical because this is how you're going to keep track of what is the actual scores for each post, and going to be able to then pull down the highest, best scoring prompts out of your table every single time so that you can run your posts. So here it is. This is a workflow that I think is going to form a lovely foundation for us to improve our prompts. Now, as I say, you can run this a couple of times, but I will think you'll get to a case of diminishing returns. You'll kind of run this, I don't know how many times it might take, probably not that many, 10, 15 times, and you probably end up with a prompt that's kind of getting you the best result that you can get. Of course, then you could maybe take that prompt, improve on it yourself even better, and then go and put it in again and iteratively run it again. But ultimately, you're probably going to narrow in on a prompt that's really, really good. What I'd be doing then is lifting that prompt out of this workflow and going and inserting it into a final workflow where I'm wanting that workflow to do the job that prompt is a part of. Guys, thank you for spending time with me. I so enjoy and I so appreciate that you spend time with me on these videos. Good morning, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. Please come and join us in the community, our Let's Automate community. We're a very small community, but very authentic, very human, very interactive. We truly do come together and work together. We are not a school where we teach. We are a community of like-minded individuals coming together to share and grow together, a true concept of what the word community is. Details in the notes down below. Until next time, we'll catch you then. Cheers.